Hey guys, it's Hannah Hearts Book 6, and today I'm going to be doing the Goodreads tag. I've watched a couple people do this, and I just think it'll be super fun to do. So, without further ado, let's begin. If you see me looking down, it's because I wrote all the questions down and did a lot more work than I thought I was going to. Okay, first question is, what is the last book that you marked as read? And the last book that I marked as read is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw, and I gave it 4 stars. I really liked that book. It was very atmospheric and very witchy and fun, and the twist was crazy. I was so into it. You should read it. It's definitely really good. The next question is, what are you currently reading? And I am currently reading All We Ever Wanted by Emily Giffin. And this is a highly anticipated release for me. I have read 2 or 3 or 4 Emily Giffin books previously. 2 or 3 of them are only half read, but I have read at least 2 full Emily Giffin books. Listen to one. But I am so excited about this book. I think this is going to be a little bit different than her other books, and I'm really liking it so far. So this is the book that I'm currently reading. Also, I'm currently reading a Goldie Vance graphic novel that is actually in my car right now, and I didn't think to bring it out. So yeah, I basically just need to sit down and just read it, because then I'll be done in one sitting. But whatever. The third question was, what was the last book you marked as to be read, or marked as on your TBR or your to read shelf? The last book I added to my to read shelf is The Sweetest Kind of Poison by Katie Wismer. Katie Wismer is actually a booktuber, and her channel is Kate's Book Date, and I added it to my TBR because it's a poetry collection. I really like her as a booktuber, and I think it'll be fun to check out her writing and see what her writing style is like in a poetry collection. The next question is, what do you plan to read next? And I actually have 2. One is a graphic novel and one is a book, and I will show you those now. The next book that I'm going to read, and this is the last video I'm going to talk about this book other than my July wrap-up, and it is When Dimple Met Rishi by Zendaya Manon. Can you read that? Take the dust jacket off because I'm at my mother-in-law's house. This is on my biannual Bibliothon TBR. This is on my next 5 books on my TBR and in my July TBR. So this book is literally getting read right after that other book. I promise. And then the other next book that I'm probably going to read is Lumberjanes Volume 4, Out of Time. I really love Lumberjanes. You guys know this. I love Jen, the camp counselor. She better be in this a little bit more because she was not in the last volume as much, which made me real sad. But super excited about this. The next question is, do you use the star rating system? And I do use the star rating system. I use 1 through 5 stars, but I also use the half stars as well. So 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. And I think that that is really helpful for me because there are some times where, I just read Leon on the Offbeat. Spoiler alert, gave it 3.5 stars. And I didn't feel like 3 was a good rating, and I didn't feel like 4 was a good enough rating either. So those half stars are really helpful for me because sometimes a book is just not so clearly 3 or so clearly 4 or so clearly 5 or 2 or 1. I don't rate books 2 or 1 stars very often. Usually my ratings range from 3 to 5 stars. So just to let you know. Next question is, are you doing the 2018 reading challenge? And I am. I set it at 25 books, and then I upped it to 40, and now it's up to 52. The reason I started it at 25 books to begin with is because last year was the first year that I read as much as I do now, and I wasn't sure if that was just the phase or if I would keep going in my reading. So I wanted to set a low goal to be happy with myself if I got to 25, because 25 books in 1 year is really good. My husband doesn't read any books, so I think 25 was modest goal for me, but I have since upped it because I'm just one of those people who I don't want to set the goal so high that I might not meet it. So I like to set reasonable and attainable goals, and then I can shift my goals up from there. The next question is, do you have a wish list? And to be honest, I didn't even know you could make a wish list on Goodreads, so my answer would be no. But if you're talking about Amazon wish list, I definitely have an Amazon wish list, and it's growing daily. I have one for books for my classroom, and I also have one that's just my wish list of things that I want. So yeah. The next question is, what book do you plan to buy next? My tentative answer is unsure, but I have a few options that I wrote down. The other choice that I had was Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, because that book looks so good and it's really pretty, and it's only like $11 on Amazon right now, so I'm thinking about snatching it up because that's a really good price for such a big book. And also, the other answer that I wrote down is, if I don't get any of those, the library sale shelf at my local library is where I get a lot of books. But the last couple of times I've gone there, I've gotten books for free because their little square reader wasn't working. So I ain't mad at that, just saying. The next question is, do you have any favorite quotes? And for this one, I will be reading them off because I wrote them down. So my first favorite quote: sometimes Matilda longed for a friend, someone like the kind, courageous people in her books. There was also another quote from Matilda, but it was really long and I didn't want to write it down. But that is one of my favorite quotes. And obviously, it's from Matilda by Roald Dahl. Love that book. The next quote is a Sirius Black quote, and the quote says, "If you want to know what a man is like, take a good look at how he treats his inferiors, not his equals." And I remember when I read that quote and being like, yes, 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 it's so true. Seriously, the way people treat those that are on the lower of the totem pole than them is really telling of how they treat other people. You can tell how much they care about other people and how decent of a human they are. So I love that quote. The next question is, who are your favorite authors? And I would have to say Julie Murphy. I couldn't say that before because I'd only read one of her books, but now I've read Dumplin' and Puddin', and she has sealed herself as one of my favorite authors. I want to read the rest of her books because she's awesome. Jenny Han, because I love the To All the Boys I Loved Before series, and then I loved Burn for Burn. Didn't really like The Summer I Turned Pretty, but whatever, don't tell Jenny Han. And then the third author is Celeste Ng, because I've read 2 of the books that she has out and they are amazing. And also, I could probably say Becky Albertalli, because Simon is awesome and Molly is me. So yeah, that's what I would say. I love how all my favorite authors are just lots of women. You know, whatever, women supporting women, it's always good. The next question is, have you joined any groups? And I have. I joined a Harry Potter read-along last summer, and I've already completed it. It was just like a 3-month thing, so I completed it, did everything, was in the chats and everything, so that was a good thing. And then the next read-along group that I'm in is the Books and Jams read-along, and I'm sorry, Krista, but I have not read any of the books. I joined when they were reading Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. I started it on audiobook and just kind of was not really wanting to read it at the time, so kind of stopped. And Krista kind of reads a lot of books that are different from me. She reads a lot of historical fiction, which I need to hop onto, but I don't know. I need to hop onto her read-along group because she's a great person and a great booktuber. If you're not subscribed to Krista, I'll leave her down below because she rocks. The last question is kind of like a make your own question, but I was watching Allie from Hardback Hoarders Goodreads Tag, and I really liked her question, so I just kind of stole her question, just picked it out and used it myself. And that would be, how do you categorize your books? And I have multiple categories, so I'm going to turn and I'm going to read them to you. So I have the typical read shelf, my currently reading shelf, my to read shelf, and DNF shelf. The next ones are more of how I categorize the books that I've read. The way that I categorize my books are audiobooks, books I own, and those are the physical books I own, and then Kindle books, which are all the books that I have on my Kindle, my Newberry Books TBR, you guys know, or if this is your first video from my channel, I'm doing a read all the Newbery Medal winning books challenge. So all my Newbery Books TBR are on there. The next shelf that I have is Red Library, and I have that shelf because I like to categorize my books by books I've read that are books that I own, but also books that I've read from the library because I loved my library and I read books from my library all the time. And the last one I have is series TBR because there are so many series that I want to read and I haven't. And yeah, that is my Goodreads tag. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a like. If you want to see the rest of my videos, subscribe down below and click the notification bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. That is the end of this video. I hope you guys liked it, and bye.